Hi everybody, this is a brief instructional video for 3.01. So this assignment is worth 25 points just to give you a heads up, so make sure that you're aware of how much it's worth. But before we do that, obviously assignment's right there. You can click it and open up the assignment, but it's already open for me, so I'm just gonna pull it over. Okay, so what you're going to do is basically this is like a proposal. So there's no like formal writing. This is just kind of you kind of trying to figure out what you want to do for this project, but it's a story proposal. So what you're going to do is you are going to choose an organization or an individual who has recently made news in your local community. All right. So once you have that in your mind, then what you're going to do is you are going to answer these three prompts or questions down here. So basically, the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to provide an overview of your ideas that include a brief description of the story idea and why it is the compelling subject for your readers. Include who you think would be interested in reading the story. So let's say there's a story about like in my community there was story about the like a young girl who raised a bunch of money to help a lot of the animals that were in the recent hurricane that has been going on. So maybe that's like the person that I want to talk about or discuss or whatever, right? So then I would kind of give an idea about a brief description. So I kind of tell what my story idea is and then who I would want or who I think would be interested in reading the story. So obviously, who's going to be interested in reading that story? Probably anyone who's been watching the hurricane, anyone who loves animals, just in general. It's a kind of a general story, so there would be a lot of people interested, but probably the two biggest groups are people who've been watching the hurricane and people who love animals. So those are going to be the people interested. And maybe what I want to do about as far as my idea is maybe my idea is to interview her and talk to her and see, how she raised money, who she talked to, things like that. Okay. So the second part of this is you're going to identify human sources. So this means you have to speak to people. Human sources by name, position at the organization, or relationship to the organization, or overall story. So, for example, if I use the same kind of story, so I would talk to the young lady, right, who was raising the money, and then I could say that I'm going to speak to maybe I could talk to her parents if I wanted to add them in there, and then I could talk to whichever organization she was raising money for. So maybe she was raising money for the Humane Society. So I could say that I'm going to talk to, let's say her name's Sarah. I'm going to talk to Sarah Smith, who was the girl who raised the money, and then I'm going to talk to the Humane Society. So those are the organization or the people that I would be talking to, right? And then what type of information do I hope to get from that? Well, like I said before, I maybe want to find out, how did you come up with this idea? What made you want to help the animals? Just some other thinking and probing kind of questions that you would want to ask or things that you're wanting to get from those sources, right? So what sort of information are you trying to get your story going? The third is so identify non-human sources by title. So citing locations and any other identifying information, what source of information you hope each source will provide. So non-human sources. So you have to think, you're like, okay, well, what non-human sources would I be trying to contact or what would I be looking at? So I would maybe start looking up information about how many animals were misplaced during the hurricane, or I might start searching different articles and websites and things like that that had put out information about animals. So you kind of have to think a little outside the box there, but hopefully that makes sense. So, and remember, when you're looking at these, like it's going to give you little specifics. Provide at least one, preferably two. Provide at least two, preferably three. So make sure that you're keeping with what you need to do for this assignment and make sure that you're reading everything and not skipping through and just skimming it. And again, it's worth 25 points. We'll talk about this a little bit more on Thursday. It obviously is going to be due on Tuesday. That's why I'm making the recording. But I know many of you will probably have questions, but hopefully the video is going to help clarify some things for you. So if you have questions after watching the video, give me a call or shoot me an email. Thank you.